and compassion. And so in addition to what he referred to with Guinea and Congo, we also extended assistance to Japan by shipping cocoa products to Japan when they had the tsunami at that time. And so there's another gesture. 3 countries are going to benefit: Jamaica, which is the hardest hit, and then Cuba, but also our colleagues in Sudan. Sudan is virtually becoming the forgotten war. Because of Ukraine and Gaza, it looks like the world's attention has shifted there. And so some of the atrocities, the genocide, and the humanitarian suffering that is taking place in Sudan is not something that belongs to the 21st century. And so we all witnessed recently Al-Fashir, when the RSF went in there. A lot of people were killed, a lot of people were displaced, and those people are in camps that are being run by the Red Cross. And so even though Ghana's contribution would not resolve the humanitarian suffering that is going on, we believe that if every country contributes its quota, we can help to alleviate, what is happening in these places. These humanitarian items are worth about 10 million Ghana cedis. It has a tradition. I don't believe that what we're giving will solve the problem, but symbolically, it's if we all come together and we give, it will make a significant difference. And so, whoever is listening, and all the other African states, Jamaica and the Caribbeans, Cuba, are appealing for us to show solidarity by coming to their assistance. I'm intending to send some members of our 48th Engineers Army Regiment who are expert engineers, masons, carpenters, and all the others to go and help make makeshift shelter for people, and also to look for tarpaulins. They ask for tarpaulins. I think that's what we use to cover the big trucks that carry our cargo. And so we'll find some tarpaulins and ship them out to Jamaica so that we can provide accommodation for people. Against the current government. Woe betides the first person who brings a scandal to this government. We shall hang them on a cross. And you follow our Lord Jesus Christ, that you cannot resurrect again. And so I keep warning them that Aba Yedibo Techi, Enwani Yedibo Boba. But we must deal with the corruption that has taken place. And my belief is that if we want our people to continue to have faith in our democracy, then we must show that the political elite is capable of governing accountably. Because by the time we went to the 2024 elections, most of our young people and our people were like, oh, even elections, it's a waste of time. You go and vote and people will just come and misuse our money. If we don't let our people believe that we can govern this country and govern it accountably and hold people to ransom who have misused government resources, then we can go the way other countries have gone. And that's why I said before the election, and I was misinterpreted, I said Ghana is not immune from coup d'etats. If the political class does not get its act together, it is possible that there could be a military coup or a civilian uprising. And civilian uprisings are worse than military coups because they end up in chaos and anarchy. If you look at what happened in Sri Lanka or somewhere, when the people had had enough, they overran the government, the prime minister ran away. They entered the prime minister's house, they were swimming in his swimming pool and opened his fridge and were drinking his drinks and eating his food. That is worse than a coup d'etat. And so for me, I said that my mission is to use the mandate Ghanaians have given me to move Ghana to a level where anybody who comes after cannot reverse the gains that we have done.
In a world often dominated by stories of struggle and division, one story stands out: a story of compassion, leadership, and hope. President John Dramani Mahama has extended a helping hand, reaching across oceans and borders to support Jamaica, Cuba, and Sudan in their time of need. With a donation valued at 10 million Ghanaian cedis, President Mahama is reminding the world that Africa doesn't just receive aid, Africa gives it too. This is not just a donation. This is a message that says, Africa stands with the world. Welcome to Make Africa Great, where we shine a light on the leaders, stories, and actions that inspire a better future for Africa and the globe. Let's begin by understanding why this aid matters. Sudan has been in the grip of a devastating conflict between rival military factions, leaving millions displaced, with urgent need for food, water, and medical support. The humanitarian crisis has left hospitals shut, schools abandoned, and families torn apart. In the Caribbean, Cuba and Jamaica face their own struggles. Cuba, long strained by economic sanctions and climate disasters, continues to battle shortages in basic goods. Jamaica, while often seen as a tourist paradise, has seen rising economic pressures and climate impacts that put vulnerable communities at risk. All three nations are in desperate need of international solidarity, not just from the usual Western donors, but from nations that understand what it means to rebuild from struggle. That's where Ghana steps in. President Mahama's donation, valued at 10 million Ghanaian cedis, or approximately 800,000 US dollars, may seem modest by international standards, but its symbolic value is massive. This isn't just about money or supplies. It's about solidarity. It's about Ghana and Africa standing tall on the global stage, not as a continent in need, but as a continent with a heart. Mahama's team coordinated the distribution of relief items, including essential goods like food, medical supplies, and sanitary products. The aid was carefully tailored to each country's needs and delivered with messages of empathy and unity. The donation was not government-sponsored, but a personal initiative backed by President Mahama's foundation and supported by civic-minded Ghanaians. This further emphasizes the power of individual leadership and citizen-driven compassion. So why is this story so important? Because it flips the script. For decades, Africa has been painted as a passive recipient in the global aid system. But here we see the continent as a giver, a supporter, a lifeline. President Mahama's actions echo a Pan-African and global humanitarian spirit. They remind us that empathy is not limited by GDP or global ranking. It's rooted in values, culture, and leadership. This move also sets a precedent for other African leaders, showing that no nation is too small or struggling to help others. It positions Ghana not just as a beacon in West Africa, but as a moral force on the world stage. And it plants a seed. What if more African nations acted as global players in giving aid? What kind of narrative shift could that bring? The response has been overwhelmingly positive. Citizens across Ghana and the diaspora praise the move, seeing it as a moment of pride, an act that reflects the values of Ubuntu, the African philosophy that says, I am because we are. In Cuba and Jamaica, local media highlighted the significance of African support, calling it an act of love, solidarity, and shared history. In Sudan, the donation brought both practical help and emotional strength, a reminder that the world hasn't forgotten them. Social media platforms were flooded with messages like, "Thank you, Ghana, for showing what true leadership looks like." Africa is rising, not just for itself, but for others. This story is more than a headline. It's a vision of what Africa can be and what it already is, a continent of compassion, courage, and community. President Mahama didn't just send aid, he sent a signal that Ghana is ready to lead not just in economics or politics, but in humanity, that Africa has the power to shape the world's future, not from the sidelines, but from the front lines. Let's celebrate this moment. Let's amplify it, because every act of kindness, no matter how small, builds a better world. What do you think about Africa playing a larger role in global humanitarian efforts? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe in the greatness of Africa, its people, its leaders, its future, hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is Make Africa Great, and the story is just getting started.
Wow, what a love from President John Dramani Mahama, the president of Ghana. to the people of Africa. What a love, brothers and sisters. This is the kind of love we want from our leaders. I'm trying to imagine if a half of African leaders have this kind of love, I think there will be no killings, there will be no war, there will be no conflict. Africans will not suffer the way today we see Africans are suffering. This is the spirit of Pan-Africanism, the spirit of Ubuntu. So, brothers and sisters, President John Dramani Mahama has sent humanitarian aid to Jamaica, to Cuba, as well as to Sudan. Right now Sudan is burning, Sudan is bleeding, Sudan is waiting for Africans to rescue. But I don't see that we Africans, we are ready for helping Sudan. Sudan is bleeding, Sudan is collapsing. There's no government that working in Sudan. What happened to Libya now happening in Sudan. I'm calling my dear lovely family, brothers and sisters, especially to our leaders, to find a way how they can restore peace in Sudan, how they can stop war in Sudan. Sudan is bleeding. And if we don't stop what is happening in Sudan, will happen in other parts of the continent of Africa. Right now, we see insurgents and terrorist attack in Sahel. It's the impact of instability in Libya. When Libya collapsed, the effect went to Sahel. And that's why today we see insurgents and terrorist attacks in Sahel. The same issue will happen to other parts of the continent if we don't stop the war or conflict in Sudan. Because I don't see that if we don't stop conflict or war in Sudan, in the near future will be peace in this continent of Africa. Those who are engineering this conflict, after finishing Sudan, they will move to another country. They have already finished Libya. Now they are trying to make sure that Sudan is going to be finished. They are waiting another country. So we need to be prepared. And the only solution is to make sure that we bring peace, we come together, we unite. I've been saying this many times. Maybe our leaders are not ready for the unit. Those who are maybe living in state house, they see things is okay. But let me tell you, things is not okay. Africans, things is not okay in some parts of the continent. For example, I've been giving the example of Sudan. Sudan is bleeding. I heard President Trump talking about supporting Sudan, working with the king of Saudi, and also some Arab countries to see how they can stop wars in Sudan. I think we don't need to wait for Trump and his friends to intervene and to stop war. Let us as Africans contribute the way we can. Let us bring together those two generals. You know, sometimes I have been saying this, if we cannot control our countries as Africa, who will control those countries? We have African Union. I think we need to collapse the African Union to create another, maybe Afro Union, maybe, or Afro unity. Because African Union, no one listening African Union. You know, recently you saw Rwanda and the Congo went to Qatar, but they are not ready to sit with African Union, to work with African Union. So look, Sudan, it's America, it's Arab countries who are trying to mediate. Where is African Union? So if African Union, no one can listen it, let us collapse and form another organization that maybe will be listened by Africans. So right now, you see these countries, even they are not contributing to their fees. That's why sometimes you see African Union begging for these Western countries, being sponsored by the Western countries. Why? Because member states are not ready to pay for the fees and contribution to the African Union. So it looks like African Union is a continental body that is hanging. So it's waiting someone to push in this direction and someone to push in another direction. So you see, so we expected it maybe before coming of Arabs and the US to mediate peace in Congo and Rwanda and Sudan, maybe African Union and the other regional bodies have already contributed. So if we don't listen ourselves, whom will listen? Do we want to say America can do well than ourselves? That's what we want to mean. Arabs are better than us. That's what we mean. So I think black people, Africans, we need to make sure that we come together, we unite. Also on the issue of Jamaica and Cuba, thanks to President John Dramani Mahama for your humanitarian aid to those countries. I see your spirit of love, spirit of Pan-Africanism, spirit of Ubuntu. You know, countries such as Cuba, you know that Cuba supported many African countries under Fidel Castro, trained many Africans, doctors during the struggle for independence. So Cuba is our best friend. When Cuba is facing some difficulties, as Africans, we need to join Cuba and support Cuba to make sure that we restore things on Cuba. So, brothers and sisters, I think this is our time for Africans to show the world that we are no longer receivers, we are donors. So for what President John Dramani Mahama has done is to show the world that even we Africans, we can come together, we can support each other. Black people, we are not the people who are waiting for receiving. We are also givers, we are donors. And of course, we have enough. For what we have, if we can mobilize what we have, we can support many African countries and diaspora countries. That's why I'm saying, I say that if we can mobilize good resources, that or little resources that we have, we can become a donor continent. I think President Mahama has demonstrated, and as Africans, African leaders, they need to follow the same suit. So, that, brothers and sisters, let us not speak for too long. Thank you for watching. I'm very happy. I'm here in this beautiful place, as you can see. You see this beautiful mountain, so cool. What you hear is the sounds of birds. Yeah, a lot of mango trees, as you can see. All those are mango trees that you see there. I'm here in natural place. So thank you for watching. Have a nice time.
Thank you, Africa.